It is a place steeped in legend and lore. I mean, a headless horseman?
Halloween is pretty epic in Sleepy Hollow.
But it's also a place bordered by water with a legendary river of its own.
Totally defines the identity of the river towns.
We get on the Hudson and up close to its newest bridge. Of course, there are the currents.
There are some genuine challenges out there, right?
Absolutely.
Speaking of water, we also find some 10 feet underground.
Hard to believe now, but this narrow brick tunnel once delivered all of Manhattan's water.
And before the Newport summer cottages, there were the Rivertown estates. I mean, who didn't have their own 19th century bowling alley? And a Bronx landmark spreads its wings and mustard.
Pretty much deli heaven right here.
It's the main streets and back roads of Sleepy Hollow, New York. Next on Chronicle.
This is Chronicle on WCVB Channel 5.
We have all these little towns along the river.
They're so closely related to each other, you don't know when you leave one and enter the next.
The reason why this whole area was settled was because it was along the river. That river has been my viewscape for my whole life.
The 315-mile-long Hudson River forms the western boundary of New York's Westchester County. Where the Tappan Zee, now the Mario Cuomo Bridge, crosses it, three famous river towns lie close together in a north-south line. But only one of them is famous, even far from New York.
In 1996, the village of North Tarrytown, New York, voted to officially rename itself Sleepy Hollow. You might wonder what took them so long. After all, nearly 150 years earlier, two towns just to the south of here had combined to call itself Irvington, proving that even while he was still alive, one of young America's first great authors and this area's most famous former resident was already beloved.
Born in Manhattan in 1783, Washington Irving was named for George Washington, who later met and blessed the 6-year-old Irving. During a yellow fever outbreak in 1798, Irving was sent out of the city to stay with friends upriver in Tarrytown, New York, where he was entranced by a region that would come to be described by his name.
He came here and found not just this tranquil, peaceful environment, but also a place that was populated with lore and stories that really captivated his young imagination.
But before an older Irving returned to New York, he served in the War of 1812, then spent 17 years overseas as a world traveler, diplomat, and more, an essayist and writer. By 1820, his short stories, Rip Van Winkle and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, were both published and enormously successful. Irving returned to the Tarrytown area, a now famous and successful author, and made his haven by the Hudson in a home he called Sunnyside.
I would describe Sunnyside as a storybook cottage, whether it's the Dutch stepped gables or the gingerbreading, which has a very Gothic feel.
Today, visitors flock to see Irving's home, especially, no surprise, around Halloween. Indeed, owing to the popular legend of Sleepy Hollow as depicted in books, TV, and film, spooky has become synonymous with Washington Irving.
I would say he's the first great American ghost story writer. The ghost of the Headless Horseman is a Hessian trooper whose head was blown off in a Westchester battle and who has come back, in search of it.
So direct line from Washington Irving to Stephen King?
Very much so, yes.
Like King, part of Irving's spooky genius was locating the scary fantasy elements amidst the very real everyday life of early 19th century Tarrytown.
You can still visit the tree where Major Andre was apprehended, and you can still visit our site, Phillipsburg Manor, which is supposed to be the Van Tassel residence. And there are several places that people fight over as to which one is the actual Headless Horseman Bridge that Ichabod outran the horseman on.
Coulda, sorta, might have been this one.
There was a bridge that existed at that time in what is now Sleepy Hollow. He was referring to a real bridge, right?
Yes, he was.
And it would have been probably over this brook.
Oh, exactly.
Still a working cemetery today, the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery is most famous for being the final resting place of the man who made Sleepy Hollow famous.
Fun fact that many people are completely unaware of, Washington Irving helped to found Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. And he did that because he wanted to be buried in this area, and he bought one of the best plots in it.
He certainly did, with a pretty spectacular oak tree, too.
Well, who wouldn't want a beautiful
Right?
oak in the family plot?
So he may have sat under that, right?
I like to think so.
Irving's gravesite attracts visitors year-round, though never more so than on Halloween.
Halloween is pretty epic in Sleepy Hollow.
Don't tell me. There must be pumpkins that are left here.
Lots of pumpkins.
Humble and appropriate offerings, if you will, to a beloved former resident here whose legacy lives on.
Wow. And besides Washington Irving, Sleepy Hollow Cemetery is also the final resting place for a lot of other notable people.
A lot of New York royalty there. Brooke Astor, Elizabeth Arden, Walter Chrysler, William Rockefeller, and industrialist Andrew Carnegie, ironically not far from famed labor union leader Samuel Gompers. So quite a collection of people in that cemetery.
Indeed. All right, up next, Ted discovers a slice of deli heaven.